Hey friends! Today is our week 31 update, and I want to preface this with two things. First off, I'm really sorry about the background noise. My husband decided to sort of 3D print right before I started recording, so the meow 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 is going to be going on probably throughout the entire video. Secondly, probably more importantly, I'm going to be talking about some kind of scary medical things in this video, but I do want to let you know that everything is fine. So if that's something that's triggering for you, or that you'd just really rather not hear right now at your stage in pregnancy, I 100,000% understand. Feel free to click away. But I do want to let you know before we get into any of that, that there is a happy ending and everyone is fine. So with that being said, 31 weeks today. We had an OB appointment last week, and I want to let you guys know how that went. So we talked about the breast pump situation, and she let me know that, like, whatever I want, basically, to just go ahead and let her know, like, research the pumps, let her know which one I want, and she will write me a script for whatever. So I did some research myself. I went on like Facebook groups and asked other moms that have had babies more recently. I asked my friends online, and I came to the conclusion that I wanted to try to get a Spectra S1, which is a hospital grade pump, and that's a huge difference in quality and especially in price compared to what they wanted to pay for, to cover for. So I let my doctor know through the internet portal a few days ago that that's what I wanted to try for, and we'll see if the insurance accepts her script, her letter, or whatnot. If not, my sister let me know that she still has her hospital grade pump from when she had her youngest in like 2021, and she literally used it like twice, and because she ended up overproducing with my littlest nephew, so she didn't have to pump. So she still has hers, and she's willing to let me borrow it or use it or whatever. And because it's a hospital pump, it is a closed system because they expect various mothers to be sharing the pump. So there's nothing like gross about that. The typical like pumps that you get at Target or whatever are typically open systems, which means that milk gets into the actual like tubing and stuff inside the machine. And so it is not suggested that you share those or pass those down to friends or what have you, which is why a hospital grade pump is better for that, because again, they usually have some in the NICU, for example, and they expect that several mothers are going to have to use the same machine, so it's just built differently. So because it's a hospital grade pump, I feel comfortable accepting a hand-me-down machine if the insurance decides not to come through and pay for it. So that's handled one way or the other. I talked with her about our hospital visit last week, and you know, fine, because at the end of the day that was just a quelling my anxiety type visit, so fine. The aspirin, she said that she did not think that it was a problem to continue it throughout the pregnancy because I am on a teeny tiny dose. I'm taking one baby aspirin every other day. So I'm taking even less than she suggested. She said that typically where you see people backing off is if they're taking blood thinners, like actual blood thinners, or if they're taking full aspirins, which are 325 milligrams each. I'm taking 81 milligrams every other day. So she says that she doesn't see a need for me specifically to stop at any point, but that I can stop whenever I want. So I will probably stop at 36 weeks. But I feel better knowing that even if I were to continue it, or if I were to go into labor before then, that there shouldn't be any risk to me because I'm on the aspirin, because the blood thinning effects are nowhere near as bad as they could be considering the dose I'm taking and how often I'm taking it. I talked to her about my movement, or the baby's movement patterns, and she's like, listen, I don't want you doing kick counts, period. And she's told me this before because she knows that I'm very anxious and that babies, all babies, have their own pattern, and she doesn't want me lying down at 2 p.m. and going, uh-oh, I didn't get 10 kicks in 2 hours, better run to the hospital, when I know that every day at 2 p.m. she's likely going to be asleep because that's her pattern. So she's like, as long as you know her pattern and you know that when she's typically most active, she's being active, I'm okay with that. I don't need you keeping track, actually, oh, 1, 2, 3. Like, you don't need to do any of that. I don't want you doing any of that. So that made me feel a whole lot better. That was last appointment, right? This week, I get a phone call from her office saying that next week, a week from today, so when I turn 32 weeks, I was supposed to have a scan, an ultrasound, to like size the baby, make sure the baby's still head down, etc., and then see my doctor immediately afterwards. Turns out my doctor's not going to be in the office that day, so they switched our appointment to today. So I just saw her last week, and I'm going to see her again later this afternoon. That's probably a good thing, because a couple days ago, or actually no, it was yesterday. What am I talking about? Yesterday, I was feeling fine. I never had cramps. I never felt off or weird or anything. I was totally fine. I was in therapy with my son, and as soon as I finished the therapy, I was like, yo, I have to pee. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And when I wiped, there was blood. And I panicked. Called my husband. I told him, I'm bleeding, you have to come home right now. And he immediately hung up on me and got in the car. My parents met us at the hospital so that they could take kiddo to their house so that he wouldn't have to just sit at the hospital. It was really, really, really terrifying, because especially like when I first got there, the first thing that they do is get a Doppler and listen for baby's heartbeat. And it took about a minute, an entire minute, to find her heart. And I was beside myself, panicking. Was screaming, no, 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 this can't be it, she has to be okay. Like, I was losing my mind, freaking out, thinking, oh my God, something's wrong with her, there's no heartbeat. A minute does not seem like a long time unless it's a minute waiting to find out if your child is okay. And thank goodness they did eventually find the heartbeat. The heartbeat was perfect. They did an ultrasound. They did a digital exam, which thankfully was not painful, but I was really scared to do it because I remember cervical checks and being in labor with my son, and that was traumatizing. It was extremely painful, like outside your body type pain. But luckily it was not painful to do it this time. They put me on the monitor for a while to check for contractions and to check her heart rate for a while. They did blood work even, just to make sure that they weren't missing signs of preeclampsia. Everybody's fine. I am fine. The baby's fine. I'm not in labor. My cervix is still closed. So it could be as simple as I scratched myself wiping. It could be anything and nothing at all. But the point is that it's not coming from my cervix, and the baby is 100%. So they released me. I asked them, do I need to be on bed rest or pelvic rest or anything? They said no. Just follow up with your doctor within the next week. And it so happens that we have an appointment today. So obviously we're going to discuss that today and see if she thinks I need to be on bed rest or pelvic rest or what have you. But that was very, very scary. I'm obviously not giving all the details because we don't need all that. Change angles a little bit here because kiddo decided to join me on the couch. Suffice to say, it's something that I wish I had not had to go through. And I'm very, very happy and very, very lucky that we're all fine. Everybody's fine. So obviously that's one of the things that we're going to talk about today at today's appointment. And I also want to follow up with the doctor about the breast pumps because, like I said, I already sent her what it is that I want, but I don't know if she's actually done anything with that information yet. So I want to make sure that she got my note in the portal and see what happens next. I'm also going to be going to a new zoo this weekend with the family, and whenever we go to the local zoo, we always either get the cycle bike thing, which while I've been pregnant, I've been abstaining from. The alternative is that they have these like little scooters. They're basically electric vehicles, like electric ECVs, whatever they're called. But they have like a cover on them, so it looks like you're riding a dragon or a unicorn or some other sort of cool beast. I don't particularly care for them, but it's either that or walk the full distance while these guys are biking. So that's typically what I do. I don't know what offerings might be available at this new zoo because we've never been there. So it's possible that I might just have to walk the whole thing. And so I want to make sure that that's safe for me to do before we embark on this journey. Or do we need to like rent a wheelchair or something basically? So we're going to discuss all of that today. Kiddo, like I said, has joined me. So now there's also Bubble Guppy's background noise going on. But yeah, that's been this past week. It's definitely been a lot. And I'm glad that it's over and behind us, and thank goodness everything is fine, because wow, that was really, really, really terrifying. But yeah, I mean, we're good, thank goodness. So the pregnancy continues. And you know, a week from today we are going to have the scan, even if we're not going to see the doctor after. So that's happening as well. Yeah, so now that I've caught you guys up on the week, on the happenings, let's get into the app and talk about what little girl's up to this week. So apparently she is as big as a fanny pack. She's as big as a man's roller hockey skate, like an inline skate. These are both things that like come in so many different sizes and like configurations that she's as big as a 2-liter bottle of juice. So like a gallon. She's as big as a coconut, which I feel like other apps or websites have already told me that she was as big as a coconut, so I don't know. She's as big as Rapunzel's frying pan, and as big as the crystal ball from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So essentially none of these things are helpful, because every single one of them, do you know how big it is? I don't know how big they are. But according to the app, 9 weeks to go. Oh my gosh, that's single digits. Single digits left to go. Oh my gosh, that just hit me like a ton of bricks. Wow. Supposedly, according to the app, she's about 16 inches long now. I know, that's really exciting. And 3.2 pounds. Baby is sleeping more. She's putting in longer stretches of sleep, which is why you're probably noticing more defined patterns of wakefulness, movement, and rest. Facts. Baby's brain is working overtime these days, developing faster than ever, developing all 5 senses. She may not be able to smell too much right now though, but it's possible. She's pedaling her feet and sucking her thumb. She's been sucking her thumb though, because we've seen her do it on a scan as early as like I think 18 or 19 weeks. But it says that she's spending her day basically making faces, hiccuping, swallowing, breathing, pedaling with her little hands and feet along your uterine wall. Yeah. It's oh my gosh, it says that some babies suck their thumbs so vigorously while in the womb that they're born with little blisters on their hands. That's really, really cute, but also poor things. Just last night when I was trying to fall asleep, she started drumming at the bottom of my uterus, because she is head down. She's been head down for a long time, which is great, obviously ideal. But she was making all these little brrr on my belly on the bottom, like really, really low. It felt like she was punching me, but it almost felt like she had like 6 arms, because it was just happening in so many different places at the same time. And I know that it wasn't her hands and feet, because she's face down, right? So her feet are up here. I have no idea what was going on, but it was wild. Shortness of breath. So this is my symptoms now. Your stomach feels like it's in your chest, and your lungs feel like, well, they don't even feel like they're there anymore, do they? Funny enough, one of the things that they did yesterday when they were on the scan is that the tech had me breathe, like deep breathing while he was doing the scan. And so I was noticing on the scan that when I would breathe, I could see the uterus kind of like contracting around her and like kind of hugging her. And then I'd exhale and she suddenly had more space, and it was so wild to see that. And something else I got to see yesterday, which I'd never seen before, is that I felt her kick, and I also saw her kick on the screen. I'm always saying, man, I wish I could see, I wish I knew what was going on in there when I'm feeling her moving around, and I actually got to witness it yesterday, and that was really cool. And that's pretty much it as far as the app and like my symptoms and her symptoms and whatnot, what everybody's up to this week. So I guess the one thing left to go is the bump, right? So there is the bump. I'm feeling quite bumpalicious these days. It feels very obvious that I am definitely pregnant, and this is not just my build these days. So yeah, that's me and the bebe right now. So that is going to be week 31. Like I said, in the next week we have a scan. The week that follows is my baby shower, which is very exciting. And then we just basically have weekly appointments, I think, from then on out until baby's here. So there's plenty more to come. There's plenty going on, and I can't wait to keep sharing these updates with you guys. Thank goodness everything is fine, and that's the biggest takeaway this week. So as always, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for supporting this journey, and we will talk again really, really soon. Bye.